afternoon, everyone. Great to be back in Wareham once again. Another great show here for you folks in the vicinity. I have an awesome guest. We'll talk to him in a minute. We're going to find out all about him. But before we do that, I've got to read these great underwriters, and then we will commence per usual. So we got Crazy Axes Recreation Center in Hanover. We got Carver Jewelers in Carver. We got Pembroke Radiator in Pembroke. We got New England Floorscapes in Middleborough. We got the Granite Guys in Halifax. We got Vape Solutions in East Bridgewater. We got good old Dave's Automotive in Hanson on Route 58. We got the main ingredient, Just Good Food in Middleborough. We got Salon Giovanni in Marshfield. We got Ocean Street Auto Repair and Service in Marshfield. We got Madigan Land Surveying in Middleborough. We got Tom Auto in Middleborough. We got Barnacle Monuments in Middleborough. We got Genuine's Inspection in Middleborough. We got Bryant's Auto and Tire Service in Middleborough. We got the Gunrunner LLC in Middleborough, dedicated to your Second Amendment rights. We got DNS Auto Works in Abington. We got Pacini's Pizza in Middleborough. I want to thank you guys very much. And now on that note, I will introduce this young man here. He goes by Jack Energy. He's a film producer. He's a music producer, I'm sorry, and an artist. And we have some clips of his that we're going to look at tonight. I'm actually kind of intrigued by what he does because, you know, I like most people that I interview, I do a little research, but until I actually get the interview in, I don't really find out, you know, the whole picture. And that's what we do on Topic Time. We talk to the people, we find out what they're about, and that's how it's going to go down. So, Jack Energy, thanks for coming in and being on my show tonight. You took the T down all the way from Cambridge. One of my very first haunts as a baby. I lived there for 3 years,
right?
As I told you, and it's one of the coolest bohemian towns and cities in Massachusetts. Plenty of culture, and obviously you have a big part of that.
It's nice.
Okay, so tell me about yourself. Now, did you grow up in New England? I sort of get the sense that you did not. That you were originally from some other port of call.
Right. Grew up in Ohio.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, Midwest, outside of Cincinnati.
Okay, I've had some guests from Ohio this year.
Yeah.
I've had a few of them.
Yep.
That area. Cleveland, yeah, cool. Okay, well, all right.
Yep. And been out in Boston since '95.
Okay, so 26 years.
This is my home now, and I miss Ohio a lot, but love Boston, love Cambridge, Boston.
I understand. Well, first of all, tell me what life was like as a kid growing up in Ohio for you. What did you aspire to?
Right. Well, there were the early art lessons.
Okay.
You know, after
school, you say early art lessons. How young were you when you were taking them?
Preschool.
Wow.
Grade school. Yeah.
You felt you knew you had talent even back then.
Yeah, my parents did, so they supported that. That was great.
Okay.
So a lot of woodland areas, forests in that area, Midwest.
So that's what you like drawing.
Grew up with a lot of.
Are you talking about your environment?
Nature,
okay.
Right? With scouting, I was through the Scouts as a child, and a lot of camping.
Okay.
Nature, yeah, a lot of nature.
Okay, so now I know how old you are. You don't look your age either, by the way. You told me your date of birth, and I have to admit I'm amazed that you. I mean, you look about at least 20, maybe 20 years younger than that actual year that you were born.
Well, it's all my clean living.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. Yeah. So why did you? All right. So you grew up taking art lessons, and then what did you do like before you left Ohio to establish yourself as a great artist?
Right. Yeah, I did take in college. I took.
Where? Where did you go to college?
Ohio University.
Okay.
Right.
Not Ohio. Not to be confused with Ohio State. Right.
I actually went to Ohio State and Ohio University.
So, okay.
Right. But I took art in Ohio University. Had a great professor. There, Dennis Dean, great guy.
Okay.
Really inspired me, and then I got into the music before moving to Boston. So I had a band, Shave Librarian, my first.
What did you say the band was? Shave Librarian?
Shave Librarian.
That's a cool name.
Yeah.
When you say a band, were you in it?
I was a lead singer, keyboardist, songwriter, right.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Great guys. Great musicians, and we had a lot of fun. Recorded 2 full albums at the Recording Workshop in Chillicothe, which is a great place. Great people.
What did you say, coffee? What about coffee?
Chillicothe, Ohio.
Oh, Chillicothe. I got it. That's the name of a town in Cincinnati.
A small town about an hour south of Columbus.
Okay.
Right.
My uncle got mugged there once. Sorry about that. I had to throw that in.
Chillicothe?
No, Columbus.
Oh, Columbus. Right.
He did okay. I wouldn't have mentioned it. He hung in there.
That's good.
Yeah, I know it is. Yeah. Okay, so.
But yeah, so we had 2 albums in our pocket when I moved to Boston.
Okay.
Started recording The Butter Thief,
The which?
It's called The Butter Thief.
Okay.
Which with Shave Librarian.
Well, wait a minute. Let's back up a little
Sure.
bit. Why did you come to Boston in the first place? What was that about? What about your band? Did they come with you to Boston?
The bass player actually trekked
Okay.
out here with me, and he was phenomenal, prodigy.
Okay.
Yeah, and so I basically followed my ex at the time for her school, master's at Tufts.
Your
So,
ex?
Yeah. And
Your former wife, you mean?
Former wife,
Oh,
right.
wow. Okay.
So we came out in '95 for her master's, and I basically just stayed out here. I love it.
Okay. Yeah, before we proceed about why you came to what you did in Boston when you got here, why did you go to Ohio State? What was there? You said you went to both.
Right, right. Well, I grew up in a small town outside of Cincinnati,
Right.
and just the fact that the campus at Ohio State had about 50,000 people on it.
Yeah.
I was kind of looking for that change in life.
You wanted more people?
More people. It was a party school.
Oh, okay. So was
So-
UMass.
That's what I've heard.
Oh,
yeah,
it is?
yeah. So Ohio State's a big.
But you were
party
there
school.
still. You hadn't come to Boston yet.
No, that was back. Yeah, that was right out
okay.
of high school.
Right.
And then the next year I went on to Ohio University studying art, and so I'm actually picking my art back up.
Okay.
Since the pandemic, kind of rebranded everything with Jack Energy, and getting some gallery showings, which we'll probably talk about.
Yeah, the other day in Cambridge. How did that go?
That went great.
Okay, awesome.
That went great. We had a really good turnout. Wonderful artists, just some of the amazing artists through the Cambridge Art Association.
Okay. Now you told me you're kind of like inspired by the abstract guys like Salvador Dali and Picasso.
Right.
Okay, so we're going to look at some of your pictures, but I haven't actually seen them. So you talk about them a little bit, and then just describe what you like. What you paint, draw, sculpt. I assume that's you paint and draw, right?
Mainly painting.
Okay, mainly
that's a
painting,
great question.
okay.
Yeah, mainly painting acrylics. Do mixed media, so I
Okay.
work with found objects, other layered
Yep.
2,
okay.
3-dimension pieces. So it's mainly acrylic. I'm calling my current approach angular organic.
Okay.
So you have that organic element, but a lot of angles, structure, infrastructure. So that's what I'm working on right now. So I just had Laughing Pine in the Catherine Schultz Gallery, which we
Okay.
spoke about in Cambridge.
Is that in Cambridge?
That's in Cambridge on
Okay.
Lowell Street.
Yep.
That's where the CAA has their offices. It's
Okay.
a wonderful gallery. Very, honored to be there. The next series I'm going to work on is based on William Gibson's Burning Chrome series of short stories.
Short stories?
Kind of futuristic sci-fi.
Oh, I see. You're actually going to illustrate them?
I'm going to interpret them with my style.
Oh,
so
cool.
I haven't tried that yet, but I'm looking forward
Well,
to
let's
that.
talk about it. William Gibson. Is he a current author?
I believe he is, yeah.
Well, I mean, what I'm asking you is, are you like are you working with him? So,
Unfortunately not.
No, I understand, but you-
Inspired by him, but no.
well,
Yeah.
okay. So,
Yeah.
so how are you going to present your drawings or paintings about to coincide with his stories? How are you going to do that?
Yeah, I'm going to take a handful of my favorite short stories
Okay.
from the Burning Chrome book
Yep.
and basically interpret them, how I
Draw
feel.
pictures of what you see and
Right.
what you read. That's
Right.
fascinating.
I'm entering an exhibit right now called Blue.
Okay.
Whether or not I'll get chosen, I don't know. Let's hope. So blue is a theme, how you interpret the color blue.
Okay.
So with that one, I'm being inspired by music
Right.
that kind of has an aqua theme. So I'm going to try to bring that into these pieces I'm working on for that exhibition. So
Okay.
that's different than my upcoming series.
So, okay, it is. This guy, Gibson, does he like write apocalyptic stories, basically? Is that it?
Yeah, that's a good question. Futuristic.
Well, just
I
futuristic,
believe,
okay.
don't quote me, I believe he coined the term cyberspace.
Oh, cool.
So
Okay.
he's that genre.
I thought Arthur C. Clarke did, but what do I know?
Yeah.
Okay,
so,
cool.
Great writer.
I'm sure, is he still with us?
I believe so.
Oh, good, okay. All right, so tell me, now what are you doing currently in Boston? You're bringing your art back, but you're also playing music too, right?
You're right. Yeah.
Okay.
We started a new album with my band, Echo Detective.
Okay.
Our last full CD album was 2017,
Okay.
Glass Cat.
You got some great names for your stuff,
on my
for your
shape-
music.
Thanks. On my Shave Records label. shaverecords.com. So, excuse me, right before COVID, we started a new album called Love in the 21st Century. So we have one single almost in the pocket.
Okay.
Looking at probably the holidays this year, around Christmas, we'll have a new single for Echo Detective.
Okay. Now, where do you perform and produce these songs? Do you have a studio in Boston and Cambridge?
Yeah, I work with Big T Productions out of North Quincy.
Okay.
Shout out to Anthony Schultz.
Okay, cool.
Great guy.
Yep.
Worked with him since '97.
Oh, wow.
So we put out a lot of good stuff.
Okay.
So that's where I do all my recording.
Okay.
Right.
See, I wasn't sure. I thought you would just produce the stuff, but you're actually a musician too.
I play keyboards and I do vocals, but I was a classically trained pianist way back.
Oh, me too. I took lessons for 7 years.
I took them for 7 years.
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah, I knew. Yeah.
Good
Common
number.
ground, small world.
So yeah, so I'm do more than just the songwriting and production now.
Okay, that's awesome. So now, you've been doing this since 1997 in Boston. You came to Boston in '95, and then 2 years later, that's when you hooked up with these people for the music. But you already brought your bass player with you from
Right.
Ohio. So was it just the two of you guys coming here first, and then you expanded and added more,
right.
added more people?
Yep, yeah.
Okay.
He was here long enough to cut the Butter Thief,
Okay.
which we had a kind of a hit single in India
Cool.
around '97, '98, which I didn't
Love
find
the
out.
tunes over there.
I started getting royalty checks for the airplay over there.
Awesome.
Which was
Awesome. I have a lot of Indian guests on my show.
It was fun.
Yeah,
was
I'm sure
fun.
it was.
And so we also had a past presidential candidate.
What do you mean a past presidential candidate?
Jill Stein.
Oh, okay. What about her?
She played percussion on the Butter Thief.
Really?
Right.
Wow.
That was before I believe she got into politics. So that was
Okay. That was
a little
the
bit of
90s.
That was '97, I believe.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So that was fun. She was great
Do
to
you
work
still
with.
talk to her now?
I don't. No, I don't. But she was great to work
Well,
with.
politics makes strange bedfellows, I guess.
So
that excludes people that they were with before.
yeah. So I don't really stay in touch
Okay.
with her, but she again
I
great
know
to
she's a
work
pretty
with.
big deal, though. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And you
No,
worked
she
with-
did a lot. Yeah.
And how many years was she with you guys?
Oh, she just did studio work with us for that album.
Oh, just for one? Okay.
Just a one-off. Yeah.
Was she the only female member of any band you've ever been in? I'm just trying to get a little more of a picture of the people that you've worked with. Mm-hmm.
I've worked with a lot of great people. So being mainly studio centric,
Yep.
we have kind of a revolving cast
Oh, I see. Yep.
of great studio musicians, vocalists.
Yep. Okay.
The bass player was out here long enough to do the Butter Thief, and then we did God of Rain
Okay.
next with Tony, and Tony Schultz at Big T. And then I've basically been working with studio musicians and vocalists ever since. Just a revolving cast every album, pretty much.
Pretty much the same location in North Quincy. Okay.
Yep, absolutely.
All right. Now, as far as what about performing live in concert? Where have you gone for that, or don't you perform live?
It's been mainly the recording
Okay.
and releasing recordings. We have a song coming out in an upcoming indie film.
Tell me about the film.
Yeah,
if
it's
you- without
Uncle-
giving too much away.
Sure. Uncle Joe's American Odyssey. My good friend Bat Anderson is the producer, director.
Okay.
So that is in the works.
Okay.
And so we'll have a couple songs there. But yeah, we're looking to get back into some live performances now that the pandemic is waning. And we used to do a lot of live stuff in Ohio. So more
Wow.
recording, video production since I've been in Boston.
So any of the guys from Ohio, do you ever still work with them from way back in those years? Or-
I'm still in touch with my the drummer from
Okay.
that lineup, and he's a great guy.
But
Has
you
his
don't
own
really, you haven't
studio.
really worked with them since because they're in Ohio. Since you were in Ohio yourself, right?
Right. I haven't
okay.
worked with, but I'm still in touch with Brian Watts, excellent drummer. Worked with Fernando Medina
Okay.
out here as a live percussionist. Again, excellent musician.
Okay. What about? Tell me about. Ever done music videos with the songs?
We have, yeah. During the
Okay.
pandemic and the lockdown, I produced about 7 videos for mainly the Echo Detective album,
Okay.
Last Cat, and there's one track from a project I did called Sailor Sam
Cool.
in 2012.
Okay. So now, when you do a music video, do you have like MTV does their, it sort of tells a story, and you usually
Right.
bring in actors for them.
Yeah, I used basically stock footage and that way. And then I basically had a storyline.
Okay.
And I found footage that I could kind of piece into the storyline. So that's how I approached the video production.
That's awesome. Well, guess what? We're about halfway through the show, and we're going to watch, speaking of that, we're going to watch a little clip of Jack's work. So without further ado, watch it, and we'll be right back.
Hey, you try to be cool when the summer comes, and you drive around downtown, and things are super good. We're growing in the sun. Amy and Amy, and the sun is our friend. Amy and Amy. No one's playing the dangerous games. You see, the snow is the summer rain. Was it Alice at the last parade? Or Calamity Jane? It's a funny thing, it's a funny thing, it's a funny thing when we don't get along. It's a funny thing, it's a funny thing, it's a funny thing when we don't get along. Life went soft, like a swivel seat. I took a shot from the wrong gun, so somehow I could think.
Anna, Carl, it's so good to see you. Please come in. It's that Anna Wong girl. You know, the one whose mother ran that house over on Barnum Road.
Sparks were flying high when you walked in today. I couldn't wait. I couldn't wait. I'm gonna make you like a stamp on a letter going to Taiwan. You're barely Asian, but you're Asian. Hearts were flying high when you walked in today. I couldn't wait. And when the stars end, the movie sky is ice dark. You'll need a new friend.
Perfect.
You can rewind, stop, start. Hey, you and Rocky Raccoon, you've got some doppelgangers. You're unbecoming, unreliable source. One who couldn't leave their feelings alone. And when the song ends, your hoodie life is ice dark. You'll need a new friend. You can rewind, stop, start. Mr. Peeper lives outside of town. He's the Bad Dream Clown. We don't want him around.
Oh, that was great. Tell me about it. The clips.
Okay, yeah, these are mainly clips, videos I produced for the Echo Detective album Glass Cat. So we have Amy and Amy, We have Hearts Flying High from the Sailor Sam Project. We have Kangaroos
Okay.
from Glass Cat. Fun song inspired by Steely Dan, one of my favorite bands.
Mine too.
There you go.
And I saw them in concert August 25th, 1994 at Great Woods.
Yeah, that's I've seen them.
Mansfield.
I've seen about 9 times.
Wow.
So
You
they're
remember
a
how
great
long?
band.
Yeah, but do you remember how long it took them to finally go back on tour? Do you know that story that they went that in the
20 years.
Yeah, 20 years. In the 70s, they felt that going live compromised the sound, and they
They
decided.
couldn't. Yeah.
But
'cause-
then I believe what happened was, and I had a feeling it was going to happen, that the technology got good enough so that they felt they could
Right.
sound as good live as they did when they were recording.
Right.
Yeah, and I collected all their albums from the 70s back in 1979. And then I don't think I bought Gaucho when it came out in 1980, but I did like this. I still listen to them whenever I can.
Right.
Deacon Blues has always been my favorite.
Asia is amazing album.
It is.
Yeah. So so just to plug the new single coming up.
Yep.
It's called Mary Turn Around. Very much kind of inspired by West of Hollywood, Steely Dan. I gave the
Is
guitars.
that an album that they did like within the last 20 years?
That was Two Against Nature from 2000.
Okay.
They won the Grammy for.
I didn't even know. See, here's the thing. I
Right.
lost track of of what they've been doing since Gaucho in 1980.
Right.
And like I said, I saw them in concert in '94, and I also knew pretty much every song on those first 7
Right.
albums from '72 to '77. From Can't Buy a Thrill to Asia.
Right.
But I guess since then they've done a lot of other albums too. Obviously, unfortunately, Becca passed away.
He did. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know, and I know Fagan did some of his stuff on his own.
Several
Came out pretty
great
good in the
solo
early
albums.
'80s.
Right. Right. And in fact, my new art piece, Laughing Pines, that just went to the gallery Saturday, is a reference to his song Springtime.
Oh, cool.
From his solo album Comicuriad.
You're talking about Becca or Fagan?
Donald Fagen.
Fagan, okay.
Right. So that was an inspiration there. So,
Cool.
But yeah, so we're looking at Amy and Amy, Hearts Flying High, Kangaroos. There's a song called Calamity Jane. There's a video for that.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, so we have several to look at.
Who produces your music videos? Same place in North Quincy?
I produced most of the ones we're going to see today, except there's one we did called Fangs that
Yep.
came out on Halloween in 2017. Tony Schultz produced that
Okay, cool. And
at Big T Productions.
And where were they out of? Same area, Boston, North Quincy, or somewhere like that?
That video was produced in North Quincy at Big T Productions.
Okay. Yeah, has your band played on the radio at all anywhere?
We've been on the radio, yep.
I mean, tell me where, if you can think of the.
We've been on some of the college stations around here. Yeah, it's, the Tough station, I believe we were on Tough
Okay,
Radio.
I know that one. I know it's 91.9 or something.
WEMF.
Yeah, WMF, right. I did a
Cambridge
show there
station.
one night in 2012.
Yeah, they interviewed me before this album, before Glass Cat, actually.
Okay.
And so that was nice. Before, yeah,
All right, okay.
in
So
the studio.
now, what about outside of New England? What about when you were in Ohio? Did you get on the radio there?
We did.
Okay.
Yeah, we did some radio contests. We did. We submitted some material and video to the Beach Contest MTV back in the '90s
That's
when they were
swell.
still doing that.
Cool.
There were some. I want to say 97.7 out of Cincinnati.
Okay.
Alternative station 97X, I believe.
Yep. Okay.
They played some of our material. That was great.
Sweet.
Good exposure.
Okay. All right. So as far as your art's going now, where have you? I mean, that's pretty much just you. That's independent of all your musicians.
Right.
Okay. Now whereabouts besides Cambridge? Do you have it on display anywhere else? Do you have it for sale in any stores or on galleries where they can sell it?
Great
And
question.
If so, where? I mean,
Right, yeah, so
ballpark it.
through the CAA and their gallery, they also have it online. So it's for sale online.
Online,
through
okay.
them. I just had 2 pieces for sale over the summer
okay.
in their small works exhibit.
Where? Is that online?
That
too?
was an online only
Okay.
exhibit. And I'm going to have 3 pieces for sale in the Everett Community Art Walk in October.
In Everett, Mass.
Everett, Mass.
Okay.
Yep.
Cool.
And that'll be kind of a scavenger hunt for art. It's going to
Yep.
be a lot of fun. So I'll have 3 pieces for sale in that scavenger hunt.
Would you ever consider? How about coming? Have you come down to the Cape at all? Which is where we're near right here, and they love art down there, and even I know it's kind of tough now with the virus, but even from what I hear, P-Town has some really good art
Oh,
galleries.
absolutely.
I mean, I don't know if you've ever gone, or the islands, Martha's Vineyard. I actually had a
Right.
woman from Martha's Vineyard who lived on Martha's Vineyard who made signs for stores, came, and she was here a few months ago and did my show named Ksenia. And now, all you ever do, but you don't, now, do you ever do caricature paintings? Do you ever paint people? Do you ever like, have people ever hide you out to paint? There's something that they want to see on canvas? Anything like that, or just your own abstract stuff, basically?
Basically, my own abstract material.
Okay.
I'm trying to create. I'm getting some traction with the new Jack Energy material and some showings. I would like to definitely get into some larger commission pieces.
Okay,
Definitely look at that. Went to I met the artist Cicely Carew.
okay.
She had a huge installation at the Prudential Center, Boston.
Installation?
Over the summer.
What's that? What's insulation?
Installation.
Oh, installation. I thought you said
Yeah,
installation.
kind of hanging from the,
Oh, okay.
the common areas.
You're talking about work.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was really inspirational to see that and to meet the artist. And,
I know, at
and
the Peru.
At the Peru, yeah.
One of the
so-
biggest iconic buildings in Boston.
Right. So I aspired to some really large pieces down the road, kind of like that, installation, mixed media pieces.
That's sweet. Okay. All right. Do you have now? What about around the country? Did you in Ohio or anywhere else between there and here? Did you ever sell your work? Anywhere? Not online, but I mean in person in galleries in different states, aside from Ohio or Massachusetts.
I used to have it in some art shows, but I really haven't sold a lot.
Okay.
I've again over the pandemic, I
Right.
rebranded.
Well, I'm
type-
talking about way back. I mean, I'm trying to get a picture of the entire history since since you started really taking it seriously enough to spend enough time to make a career out of it.
Right. No, I gave away a lot of pieces to friends and
Okay.
family. Right.
Okay, that's cool.
Early on.
I understand.
So.
Okay, so that is interesting. You definitely like to be remembered as somebody that's got his definitely his own style and that's basically uncopyable. Right? I mean,
Right.
someday Jack Energies are going to be considered the rarest of the rare in the art world. That's your goal.
Yeah, a brand.
Okay, right.
Yeah, a brand.
Have you ever been on TV before for anything?
That's a great question.
That's the only time we ask on Topic
They
Time.
are
Go
great.
ahead, you tell
That's
me.
right. I was on a Christmas special in Ohio back in 1990.
Okay,
Public
in your 20s, in your early 20s.
public access TV.
Okay.
And that was a lot of fun. Played some original music, and they interviewed me at the piano. It was fun.
That's awesome. All right, now is the piano the only instrument you play, or you guitar too?
Mainly piano.
Man, piano and sing too,
Synthesizer.
and vocals too, right?
Right.
Okay.
So I am mainly a synthesizer player.
Yep.
And actually am a co-founder of synthmuseum.com,
Okay,
which you may have seen reference to. It's the largest online museum of vintage electronic music equipment.
and that includes when you say synthesizer, I think of the Moog synthesizer.
Correct.
From the early 70s, correct? Is that what you're talking about?
That's one of them.
Okay.
Correct.
How many other kinds of keyboards that was a sweet keyboard. I remember when it
Right.
came out in '73.
Right.
I remember I watched the Schaefer beer commercial when they were playing it for the old Schaefer jingle. You probably don't even remember that. Maybe you do. You're old enough to remember it, but I don't know if you do because I don't know how much TV you watched and if you remember these. I happen to be a collector of fine jingles in my brain going back since I was old enough to understand jingles. And one of them, that's the first time I ever heard a Moog synthesizer.
Right.
And it sounded amazing. So it was almost like an instrument ahead of its time because, I mean, back then until then it was nothing but on a keyboard, but 88 keys on a piano. But now with the Moog synthesizer, created sounds that we never heard before on a keyboard.
Right.
Beautiful ones too.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. And the Moogs were huge.
Right.
Huge in that field.
Yep. And of course now now you can pretty much emulate any sound you wanted with a keyboard.
Right.
With any instrument you want. Well, guess what, Jack? We're down to the final 5 minutes of the show.
Great.
Like I told you at the beginning, what I asked you to do is look at that orange light and give shouts out to people that are going to see the show, and then we'll wrap it up the way we began it with my music. So go ahead.
Thanks, Harrison.
Sure.
Yeah, I'd like to give a shout out to my family, very supportive family, my mother, father's sister, brother-in-law, Mary Dalba, who inspired me to get back into art, got me back into the game with art and music. And want to thank Tony Schultz, Big T Productions, Jeff Lipton at Peerless Mastering, along with Maria Rice at Peerless, Jonathan Weiner Mastering. A shout out again to Dennis Dean, art professor at OU, and my high school art teacher, John Ludi, amazing, amazing person. So I want to thank all of those people very much, and all of the musicians, vocalists that I've worked with over the years who've made my life blessed beyond belief. Thank you.
All right, tell me about Mary real quick. I mean, that's your girlfriend, right? And she's an artist too?
She's a great
Is she a
artist.
photographer?
She's a photographer. She
Okay.
does acrylics. She's a writer.
Yep.
Right.
What does she write? Like novels?
Haiku, short stories,
Cool.
poetry.
Yeah, I've written short stories and poetry too. I've written a book of each.
She's very talented. She's done stories from the stage, WGBH.
Oh, wow, there you go.
Storytelling. Very talented person.
Yeah. Well, what I'm getting at is if you had a good time with me and she likes the show when she sees it, I'd love to have her on as a guest if she wants to come down and do it. And that goes for anyone else that you might know that I could possibly interview. I
Sure.
get a lot of my guests now through word of mouth, more and more than ever before in the 11 years I've been doing the show. I get most of them through Facebook, like I got you. But again, like I said, more people are taking it to wanting to do the show after they see interviews with other people.
Right.
And you did a great job with me. Now, before we wrap it up completely, is there anything that you want to mention that you might overlook, something coming up in the future real quick?
Yeah, well, again, we have the, excuse me, the Everett Community Art
Oh,
Walk
yeah, Everett, right. You mentioned that.
in
yeah.
October. You can check out all of my art and current exhibitions at jackenergy.com. And all of my music credits and links are off of shaperecords.com.
Awesome, okay. Well, you did a great job with me, Jack, and like I said, I hope you had fun.
Great time.
Thank you.
And it's an honor.
And it is an honor.
Thank
I
you.
always say it's a great guest to make Topic Time Prime, present company included, obviously. And we've been trying to make it happen for a few years, like that. Like a fine wine, you never sell it before it's time.
That's right.
Or pull the cork off before it's time either. I figure I'd just throw that in for effect. Okay, and on that note, we're going to wrap the show up. Thanks for watching Topic Time. More great episodes to follow. Be back with him as soon as we can. See you next time. Take care. Have a good one. Bye-bye. Good time's a charm.
HARRISON spells Harrison. Harrison.
Great job. You still got it.
Hey, there you go.